Hey, what's up, everybody? Man. All right, I am behind the 8 ball today. Just got out of a meeting for ACSS 3.0, which I was late for, and yes, so it's been a fun one this morning. Welcome, Ronnie. Welcome, Team Keeley. The Hunzi is here. Klaus is here. Gene is here. Matthew is here. Cease is here. Rob. Justin, good to see all of you. Ruben, good morning. Good morning. Okay. Yes, we are ready to go. Let me get this off my screen here. Let me just do some tidying up real quick. Hey, how about those new frames for frames users? We just got a big batch of new frames published yesterday. One of them is really cool. I got to do a dedicated video for it. It's kind of it seems simple at first glance, but there's a lot of cool little details going on behind the scenes. What's up, Andre? What's up, Flipback and Marco? Okay, agenda for today, I believe, is we've got a web design critique. I've got to check my email and see if this other guy gave me the green light on his. We could do 2 today, but I was waiting for the green light on one of them. And then we're going to do something that was submitted by an audience member. He watched my video on data attributes, and he has this project that he's working on where there's multiple brands. I think he said I can't share the design, so we're just gonna have to use some dummy data and stuff. But it's a product company, but they sell other brands' products, right? And it's multiple brands. And what the client wants to do is every brand has brand colors, obviously, and he wants to color code them. So it's like if the product is with this brand, it's gonna have this color gradient. The gradient's gonna be the same across all the cards, but the brand colors are gonna change based on the name of the brand. And there was a few different ways to tackle this, and he wasn't really sure. And I was like, all right, well, maybe we'll just tackle it on WDD Live and kind of talk through the approach, okay? And for those of you who watch my training on data attributes, this will kind of be a good follow-up to that. Okay. Obviously, I can't help everybody for free, right? So, if you DM me, it might be like, all right, well, buy a consulting call. Or it might be like, go ask the inner circle. Or it might be, I maybe can do that on WDD Live. In this case, it was, I can probably, look at that on WDD Live. So that's what we're gonna do today. And then we'll just do Q&A after that. All right, Calisthenics Ireland, good to see you. Tomia Studio says, I feel better knowing that you found the split background frame. Tricky yourself, I had no chance to replicate it myself. The split background frame was fairly easy. It was just a decision of what to do on mobile. I initially left it split on mobile, but then on normal mobile devices, like my phone, it was still okay. But on smaller mobile devices, you just can't see enough of each image anymore. It's just, they're too cut. And so I made it so that it drops one image and leaves the main image. And you get to decide which image gets dropped. But again, that's completely, if you want it to stay split, you can just delete like one line of CSS and it'll stay split on mobile. So you can do it however you want. It's just really a personal preference at that point. I felt that when it stayed split on small devices, you lose both images. Like you can't tell what they are in some cases. So it was better to drop one and leave one. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up our first website. We will dive right in. Let me go ahead and screen share this. Okay, here we are. And this, we're gonna do our no scroll test. So I see, it looks like this is in English, okay, but the brand name is Bergschaft. And I can tell by the logo that we are doing some sort of mountain climbing here. There's a rope and a mountain. It's a very literal logo here. And then we have a slider. And you guys know how I typically feel about sliders. I'm not a huge fan of sliders. We have rope team, we have friendship. I see mountains, which looks to be, some exciting adventuring going on here. But it doesn't really tell me. It doesn't really tell me what this is about. What is this? We don't know right now. I don't think there's any way to tell. If I don't scroll around, there's really no, I can only guess. My guess is that you can sign up for mountain climbing adventures. That's my guess. There are some CTAs hidden down here. We've got subscribe to the tour email and look into the offers, okay? As far as those go, I'll just tell you right off the bat, you know, when somebody first arrives, they probably don't want to just jump on your email list. Unless you really give them some sort of juicy offer to get them to jump on that's probably not something that they want to do. So I think that's a little bit of a waste of a call to action right there. And then look into the offers. I think we can word that a little bit better. I think we can make that a little bit more enticing. And that's another opportunity for you to also kind of tell people what's going on here, right? Like special tour offers or special adventure offer. Like, you know, allude to something, right? It's very basic. Look into the offers. I mean, literally every business on planet Earth could be like, look into our offers. You're not giving any other context clues as to what's going on this website. So with that said, I guess I can start scrolling around. So I'm gonna go ahead and start scrolling down. Let's go ahead and figure out what this was built in as well. Oh, okay. We've got an Elementor site, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Elementor is the thing. Okay. Who we are. So we've got Jonas, we've got Florian. So the first thing we're doing is meeting people. We still don't know what the business is about, but we can meet the people. Jonas is a young, passionate mountain guide. He loves to spend time on ski tours and alpine tours and likes the versatility of nature, the remoteness and roughness. He likes to show his guests hidden ascents and lonely descents. I'm not a climber or a skier or anything else. I guess that's going up and going down. That's the language for hidden pathways up. And I don't know what a lonely descent is, though. That doesn't actually sound all that enticing. Florian says he's enthusiastic about the mountains and their possibilities. He loves climbing on aesthetic walls and ridges. Likewise, free riding always puts a smile on his face. I don't know what that is. He loves to show you the swirling snow, the racy turns, and the untouched nature. Okay? All right, so I still don't know what this place is, but I do, I like these two gentlemen, look very nice, and they look passionate, and they look like they know what they're doing. So let's continue going down. The next thing we have is values. Okay, they value community. Okay, now we see mountaineering. All right, we're getting some keywords thrown into the mix now. In mountaineering, you are traveling in a group that functions as a whole. The tour is the tour. Okay, good. I think my guess was on point. The tour is done together. Together we are stronger than alone. Okay, all right. Yeah, I would hope that, I don't want to get left out there and I don't want to be alone. So I do agree community is kind of a strong thing here. Rope team, the rope connects on the mountain tour. It symbolizes community, but also means the mountain guide's guarantee of safety. Is that a value though? Like, that's a thing. It's like a feature. I don't know if it's a value. Friendship is a value. Mountain moments experienced together weld people together. A rope team quickly becomes a friendship that goes beyond mountaineering. Okay, so we're clearly, this is a mountaineering website, and now we get down to this says current offer. But aren't these just your, the services, the tours, I don't know that this is your current offer. Offer to me is like a promotion, it's like coupon or a special offer, right? Okay, ski tours, ski mountaineering, ski touring courses. How do I decide where to descend? Where's the best snow? Okay, so are these courses or are they all right, Saturday 25th of November, Saturday 9th of November, improve your skiing technique. Is this wouldn't this be a class? Is this like a multi-day thing? Or is it just a single day class? I don't know that course is the best terminology there. Avalanche awareness, ice climbing courses, ski touring, spontaneous tours, and last minute. Okay, let's see what's going on here. All right, Christmas and New Year's, got some dates. Let's go here. See, this also says, I don't know. Did I translate this or something? I can't even tell. Let's refresh. It doesn't ask me to translate it. I feel like this is in English. But I would work on some of these, some of this is going to be a little confused, like to the offer. And then I'm doing a lot of clicks here to the dates and registration. Okay, Wednesday, then I can book. What's this booking process look like? All right, looks like some WooCommerce action happening here. Got a form off to the side. I can book, I can pay. Okay. Fairly straightforward. I will say that, the design of the site is very uninspiring, right? It's not, this is the most visual aspect of the website here, which a lot of these photos are pixelated. I would definitely hire a pro photographer to come with you on like one of these and just really document the hell out of it and just in really, really good quality. And you can use a lot of that media, do maybe a little drone action, maybe a little bit of videography, right? Like you really want to try to sell this. You're not really capturing a lot of the brilliance and wonder and all of this, like that. I think that would really go a long way to selling these packages. Pixelated photos that are cut off in an image slider aren't really doing it for me. And then I slide down and I see, very small images. We have the ability here on a site like this. This is really where you want the imagery is what sells so much of this, right? And so you want to find layouts that really use media in a good way. This is like using media in a very mediocre way. It's like, oh, okay, ho-hum. All right, I see some small images. There's nothing really like pulling me into the experience, right? Come down here, same thing. We've got this like, gray. It's just like, all right, light gray. And here's a few more images. These two images are exactly the same. I'm just not getting a lot of visual eye candy here. I also feel like, there's some basic padding stuff. And here's where you're going to run in, I think, these are Elementor classes. I don't really know anything about Elementor other than it sucks. I've used it enough to know that. I've inspected it enough to know that. So something like this, right? Like, let's just get a little bit more white space in these cards, and let's not like crush all these cards in the same space. Like, 3 columns would probably be good here. You've got 3 down here. I get it. You have 7 cards. It's a tough number to deal with, right? But there's still a better way to do this. Definitely a better way to do this. Unfortunately, you didn't use any classes here, so you would have to make the adjustment to every one of these cards individually like a chump, right? To go through and do this. But I would say what needs to happen here, more than anything, is talking about sales, talking about conversions. What is the biggest thing that is going to impact this website? Well, we talked about some of the words being a little off, right? Not calling these things offer. Making sure up here that we're actually telling people where they're at and what this site is all about. This whole hero situation has to be redone. Whole hero situation gets redone. But beyond all of that, the biggest thing I can say about this website is this is exactly why you want to consult with a professional designer. To me, this was designed by not even a web developer, really, a page builder. This is designed by somebody who just assembles pages in a page builder, right? They're not really a developer. They're not really a designer. They're just an Elementor user. That's what this screams, that this was built by an Elementor user, not somebody who's truly skilled in any specific discipline, not skilled in copy, not skilled in design, not skilled in development. It's just, this is what we get, right? This is a typical outcome of somebody who builds pages, but doesn't really have a strong expertise in any individual area, which is why you need to consult with somebody who does have an expertise in UI design. Let them figure out how to create the captivating nature of a website like this. Because, like I said, if you want to sell these tours, you have to draw people in. You have to get them absorbed into the experience. You have to make them feel like, wow, I'm halfway living this on this website. Now I want to live it in real life. IRL, baby. I want to live it IRL. Let me sign up, right? You're not giving them anything that's going to captivate them, or really, you will convert people who are like this close to signing up already, you know, like they're on the fence, they're about ready to do it. And so they don't necessarily need to be captivated. They already are using their imagination. They already have a desire to do this, but that's not most people. That's a very small percentage of people. There's a bunch of people who are like, you know, I've never done something like this before, and it's a lot of money for me. It's a lot of time, you know, that I'm gonna have to invest. I gotta travel. Do I want to do it? This site's not gonna sell that person. This site's not gonna convince that person. That person's probably gonna leave and think about it for another 6 months, right? And they may end up on somebody else's site who does end up captivating them, and then they decide that they want to do it, right? You're missing an opportunity here to really convert the maximum amount of people because of the lack of visual presentation. It's just one of those businesses where you have to draw people in. You have all these beautiful mountains and this crazy adventure type stuff, and nobody is telling the story of any of that. It's just like, oh, we got some values, and here's meet our people, and then you got some offers, you know? Tiny little pictures, go ahead and decide which one you want to do and sign up. It's just not gonna happen. Most people, the only like diehards are going to do this, or people that were referred by somebody else and were like, yeah, I know the website sucks, just trust me, the adventure is real. Okay, go sign up. And so they sign up despite the fact that the website was bad, right? Not because the website was good and captivated them and really got them to sign up. They signed up despite what was happening on the website. Okay, let's go to the chat. Let's see what chat has to say. Bring ACSS to Elementor. Ruben, you're out of control, my friend. He wants it in Breakdance. He wants it in Elementor. He wants it. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. Definitely, Elementor is a definite no. Elementor is a definite no. Let's see. Okay, the auto slide gives me a headache. Make it stop. Yeah, I'm not a fan of auto sliders like that. Sounds like he's leaving folks up on the mountain. Yeah, yes. Things are gonna get very lonely for you at the end of this tour. Not a good selling point. Let's see. You can use his heading on the banner: explore the heights, mountain tour specialist, scaling new heights with mountain guides, conquer new peaks, your mountain tour guides. Why would somebody submit an Elementor site? Hey, I mean, it's what they got, you know? An Elementor site are literally trying to find out what a site is trying to offer you. That's true. Yes. It's auto-translate, I believe. I don't remember it asking me though. It doesn't usually auto-translate because it prompts me. There's like a little box up here and it's like, do you want to translate this? I don't remember opting in for that. It's an English version of a Swiss website. Yeah, here you go, right here. There you go. All right. Yep. Good. Okay. WPML or so. I think it's valid to submit an Elementor website. Perhaps the creator is trying to shift to Bricks or other page builders. After finding Kevin's videos, the critique would be super helpful then. Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, Elementor sites are totally fine to submit. You know, we'll have the obvious Elementor comments to go along with it, but they are still viable to submit for sure. How do we add a design for critique? In the description of every one of these WDD lives, there's a link to the application. You just go fill it out. It's free. But you do have to opt in to emotional abuse. Switzerland is where offer comes from too. It's the direct translation from German. Doesn't mean the exact same thing in English. Okay, that's good to know. That makes sense. Let's see. Okay, just revisiting chat here. There's not a whole lot else to look at here on the site because I think all these are just the same. They're the same template with just like dates and what you can do. You got some FAQs here. But let's look at the FAQs in a second because that's an interesting part of some of these websites. A lot of people don't use FAQs to their full potential. We'll talk about that in just a second. I want Kevin to make money. We need a CSS page builder. I built many Elementor sites with my day marketing job. The boss wanted to go Elementor and I almost died. The whole class issue in Elementor is only a big deal when the dev doesn't use Elementor properly. Use a loop item, listing item, and then change it one time in the template. It doesn't actually, that doesn't actually help. You know, I think a lot of people get confused on this. Would putting those cards in a loop solve the problem for that individual page? Yes. Would it solve the problem for styling across the website? No. Because if those cards are looped on 5 pages, changing the cards in this loop fixes that page. It doesn't fix the other 4 pages. So you still have to, not only do you have to go to the other 4 pages, you have to remember the other 4 pages exist. Then you have to remember the cards are on those other 4 pages. Those cards, the cards you're working on, you have to remember that they're on those other pages. And yet not just remember they're on, you have to know every page they're on, because if you miss one, now you suddenly have a URL where the cards don't look like your other cards. And so things slip through the cracks very easily. Classes fix this. I don't have, when the classes are on the cards and I use the same cards everywhere, I don't care where they're located or how many of them there are or how many pages they're on. I don't have to know, don't have to care. I just change the style on the class and I know they've updated everywhere. So no, a query loop does not solve that problem. And Elementor still is a problem in the fact that it has no class-based workflow. It's not even just that it's not class first, right? There's class-based, then there's class first. We look for class-based at a minimum. Okay, Breakdance is an example of a builder that is class-based, but not class first. But at least they have class-based. You can add classes to things, you can style those classes. At least, right? Can't do that in Elementor. So Elementor completely fails in that regard. And I just wanted to take a minute to explain that because a lot of people do get confused. They think a query loop saves them, and a query loop does not save you. The only thing that would save you with the query loop and no classes is to have a component. A component would arguably save you, but I don't think Elementor has that either. So yeah, that doesn't really work. I mean, if you're only going to use that card in a query loop ever, maybe you can save it as a whatever they might call like an individual element template or something. That might work, but it's still so convoluted. It's like, oh, look at all these hurdles we're jumping over just so that we don't have to apply a class to something. Why? Is it so hard to apply a class to something and style it? Like, it's harder to jump through all these loops. Well, yeah, loops. We should just call them loops instead of hoops, shouldn't we? Okay, let's look at this. What is a high altitude tour? Okay, I guess this is just for high altitude tour. Okay, let's go to a normal one and see ski tours, to the ski tours. Okay, let's go down here. There should be FAQs. My gosh, that's a lot, by the way. If you think somebody's going to scroll and look through all these, you have lost your mind, my friend. We need a different layout, a much different layout. When you're going to have this many items like this, we absolutely need a different layout. I guess this is you've got different categories, but then I can click up here. Okay, and scroll down. I mean, there's so many things going on this page. So much content, so much content. Like the idea that somebody would ever even make it down to the FAQs with all this content, that's a lot to ask a visitor. Notice there's no FAQs link up here. They wouldn't even know the FAQs are down there. Yeah, there's just, I mean, put any like overlay tool on your website to see how people use it. I guarantee you like 1% of users make it down to this FAQ section. Okay, what are recommended ski touring classics? I hate this question because I don't even know what the question means. Not only would that be it's not frequently asked because I wouldn't even ask it once. I don't even know what this means. Classics among them are, okay. Yeah, this doesn't help me. What are great 2-day ski tours? Okay, 3-day ski tours. All right, so you're basically making suggestions here. I feel like we should find a visual way to do this. And we should create categories like 2-day ski tours. Like, why isn't that a category up here? Look, shouldn't that be here? If you know that's what people are looking for, they're looking for 2-day ski tours and 3-day ski tours and 1-day ski, that should be up here. That's what people should choose from first. when they're trying to find out, what's available to them. For sure. Don't bury that in don't bury those critical insights in an FAQ at the bottom of a mile-long page. Which high mountains in Switzerland can be done as a ski tour? Which places inside? I feel like this is AI generated these. Is it possible to go ski touring at night? Okay, shouldn't that be a category? Night ski tours. If that's a thing, put it up here. Make it like that. That would be interesting for people to, know about and click on. We're just burying like so much interesting things in FAQs. Where can I find information on current? When is the Avalanche Bulletin published? Are there any apps? So far, none of these questions are really what I would have asked. How do you dress properly? That seems like a good FAQ question. How do you dry the skins after a ski tour? What belongs to the ski touring equipment? Can ski tours? I don't know. This is too much. We need to categorize our FAQs as well. Like maybe, planning. It's not even FAQs at this point. Just have a section on the website for like planning your ski tour. We're trying to do too much with the FAQs here, I feel like. Because if you look up here, there's nothing. There's no like information section. And really, if you made articles out of these things, now we're talking content marketing, SEO, organic traffic, a lot of potential there. I'm looking down here in the footer and I don't really see any blog whatsoever, any articles area, any education area. There should be a YouTube channel dedicated to content for this thing. There should be a blog dedicated to helpful content for this concept. So we're missing a lot of the building blocks of a really strong, organically trafficked website that would also lend to a better user experience and would lend to people who want to do tours having helpful information at their fingertips. We're abusing the FAQs right now. This FAQs thing needs to be reimagined and broken out into different content areas of the website, for sure. Okay, let's go back to chat. Let's see. Okay, going up is included, going down is an option. He's upselling. It's even scarier. Yeah, we'll take you to the top. If you want to come down, that's another fee. Let's see. Too many categories all suggesting the same thing. Less is more. It's just a low budget site. We don't even know. I've seen, guys, I've seen agencies charge top dollar and produce stuff like this. Honestly, it's like, we don't even know how much they paid for this. Blows my mind people still use Elementor in 2023. I can get on board with agencies who are like, look, we got 100 sites on Elementor. We're not rebuilding them all. We're still going to maintain them. But the idea of continuing to use Elementor going forward, for sure. It blows my mind as well. What it is a lot of people who started on Elementor who are, they're page builders. They're not web designers. They're assemblers. They assemble sites, but they don't really have any expertise in any particular area, kind of like what I described earlier. Most of them don't even know what classes are or really how to use them. They don't know anything about variables. They don't really know anything about scalable, maintainable web design. They don't know what they're looking for, so they don't know what Elementor lacks. And then, you have a bunch of creators running around saying it doesn't matter what page builder you use whatever you like, use whatever, tickles your fancy. It's just like, okay, so I get why a lot of people are still on Elementor, right? They don't really know any better. Don't attack breakdance. Hey, I didn't. I said it was. It's at least class based. Okay. I need my drink here. Appreciate that class explanation. Not sure what you meant about changing the listing item on every page, though. It would be the same template on every page. Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know how Elementor works to that degree. But in Bricks, if you query loop something, You take the item, you turn on the query loop, it query loops it, okay? If that thing is a template, it's saved, like that card is saved as a global element or whatever. You have to save it with the dynamic data intact in order for it to work. But then you're super limited on what you could, because there is no component functionality. So if you need different dynamic data on a different page, for example, that global element is no longer of any use to you. You have to create another one, like a second version of it that would work on this page. And again, now we're in a situation where we're just jumping through hoops. For what? For what? Just put classes on the things and move on with your life, and then you don't have to worry about it. You would never want to rely on, here's what a loop does. Let's just talk about the fundamentals. A loop outputs HTML, right? Styling should be handled by CSS, and CSS doesn't use loops, it uses classes. These two things work in combination with each other. It's not well, if you use a loop, you shouldn't need classes. No, you still need classes for the styling aspect of it. The loop is for the HTML and the PHP, right? So there's a separation of responsibilities that needs to continue taking place. Where it muddies the waters when you have a true component functionality, because the component can actually handle the styling without classes. But it's still safest to have classes. It's still safest. You can't go wrong when you have classes attached to things. And so then you get in a situation like where you ask the question, why wouldn't I attach classes to these elements? What is the downside of attaching classes to the elements to ensure that I have no limitations when it comes to styling these elements? And the answer is there are no limitations other than it took you 8 additional seconds to add the classes. Okay, so I'm willing to invest the 8 seconds that it takes to add the classes to ensure that I have no limitations across this entire website. The idea that I wouldn't invest that time and then hope for the best, like maybe cross my fingers, I'm not in the business of crossing my fingers. I'm in the business of knowing that I won't have limitations later. That's what I'm in the business of doing, because I don't want to live that life when I run into the limitations that, oh, I didn't see that limitation ahead of time. Well, if you use classes, it wouldn't have been there. So we already should have known that and should have used classes and call it a day. So it's like, why wouldn't you? There's no downside. People people that use Elementor, because Elementor doesn't offer classes, try to come up with all of these explanations for why you shouldn't need them. And none of the explanations really, really work all that well. At the end of the day, you're trying to do web design without a fundamental aspect of web design, and then trying to make excuses for why that fundamental aspect doesn't really need to exist, when we all kind of know it does. That's the situation that we run into with Divi users and Elementor users, and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, FAQ, what to find in the FAQ? Bro paid $30,000 for the site at least. I doubt it. All right, let's see. Framer is better than Elementor. Use my link though to sign up. That's basically every Framer video on the internet right now. Why wouldn't you attack? Break your dance. The creator of the company didn't treat his customer base any different. Okay, I think we're done with this website right here. There's not a lot else that we can do. It needs to be, if we want the cliff notes, it needs to be rebuilt, redesigned, reimagined. There's a lot of work to be done. It's not one of those sites where we can just tidy up a section here, tidy up a section there, implement this or remove this. It needs to go back to the drawing board. It needs to be wireframed first. How do we want to tell this story? How do we want to captivate people? What kind of imagery are we going to use? We need to invest a little bit more in the imagery itself. And like I said, a video would never hurt a site like this. A little drone footage would not hurt a site like this, okay? And then the workflow, I think, in terms of getting people to choose tours and sign up. That's why we need to wireframe this, because there's a lot of thought needs to be put into how are we going to get people to see the right things at the right time and choose the right things and sign up very easily, right? Because there's so many options here, so many things to know and do. And we're not asking people to buy widgets. We're asking people to drop what they're doing, travel, go to the top of a mountain, trust the guide with your life. I mean, that's a big ask. You've got to do some convincing, okay? And so you've got to put the time and effort and energy into the UX and the design and the narrative and the whole experience. And so this is a scrap this, back to the drawing board, follow a better process, wireframe, professional UI design, and then real development, okay? All right. Let's go back to camera for a minute. Okay, so, and I'm putting it in my mind right now. Remember, we are not screen sharing, Kevin. Don't try to show anything on the screen. Okay, so let me set up the next, let's see. Gotcha on the classes piece. Are you saying that you have two different card layouts and then assign the same class to both? They have different data, but look similar. Well, one card may have an extra bit of data that the other card doesn't have. And if you don't have true component functionality, you can't add that piece of data to a closed template without breaking the template. So it's easier of a thing to demonstrate, right? So we would have to demonstrate it, and then I can show, and I have demonstrated it. I have demonstrated it on past videos, why query loops do not save you, and classes are still the best approach to managing styling in web design. Okay. Second little area of the stream that we're going into. I had a user submit, for those of you who aren't here in the beginning, a user submit a concept, and he's basically saying, look, I think it's a vape shop or something. So they sell all these vapes, right? And vapes there's specific brands of vapes that they sell and vape-related accessories. I feel like, what's vapes and vape-related accessories? What is propane and propane-related accessories? Hill, what is it? I can't, it's escaping me right now, the cartoon. Okay, anyway, he wants the products to be associated with their brands, and he wants to use the brand colors to display these products on the website in various ways and in various places. What we basically need to do is have a situation where we are coming up with a keyword, like the name of the brand, or assigning colors to that keyword, and then we can use them however we want to. Like maybe when we're on the landing page for a product of that brand, we're using that brand's colors on the landing page. In the first case, he wanted cards to use this like gradient effect, and the cards would inherit the brand colors in the gradient. Okay, so that's one way to use it. But we're trying to come up with a method, the method I was explaining using data attributes and such, where you would actually be able to use the brand colors of that brand in any particular location on the website. Yes, Hank, thank you. Hank Hill, king of the hill, propane and propane accessories. We are doing the Gen Z version of that, which is vape and vape accessories. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I will go back to sharing the screen. And I am going to pull up a blueprint. I'm just gonna bring this over here so everybody can see. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of everything, okay? We don't need all of this stuff here. Don't save, go, okay, great. All right, let's see. All right, good, we're where we need to be. I'm literally like, there was zero prep for this, okay? We're just gonna go off the cuff and make this happen. So I need to go over here to clone site. This is gonna be our vape shop, all right? We're gonna clone this site. I'm not gonna do all the WooCommerce, all of that. We're gonna just use CPTs. I'm just gonna explain kind of the concept here, okay? But we're not installing Woo and creating actual products and all that nonsense. I hate Woo, I can't stand it. And it's not needed to demonstrate this concept. Okay. Hopefully this blueprint gets us to where we want to be. What? Okay, like why is it giving me warnings? It's just take care of it. You're already doing it automatically. I don't need to know. Just get it working. Okay, WP admin. The new version of local is not as smooth as the other version of local. I will note. It does all those things like errors and all this other stuff. Okay, let's just quickly update this real quick. Vaping is bad for you. Hey, I agree, Carlo. I don't do these things. All right? But I'm not judging. Local SSL works now. There's a tutorial in the inner circle. Yes, I haven't implemented it on this blueprint yet, but okay. Appearance, themes, what do we got? Update, little bricks update. So what I'm thinking is let's do a product CPT. We're going to create a custom taxonomy. That was kind of how I was, I'm going to bring up what he said on the other, let me get a new tab here. Let me get this over here. Okay, you guys won't be able to see what's going on over here, but that's what he wanted. I just need the colors that he sent, and then I'll change the names of the brands, I guess. I guess the brands don't matter all that much. Okay. All right. Let's go to ACF, post types, and I'm just going to do a product post type. So we'll do products, taxonomies. Don't worry, don't care. Okay, that's in. Now let's do another post type. Actually, no, let's do the taxonomy for this. So this will be brands, okay? And brand and brands. And we will assign this to products. What's cool about this is you could also technically assign this to like blog articles that you might post about the brands. You could do a lot of stuff here. Brands does not need to be hierarchical, though. Okay, that's fine. Field groups, let's go back to products. There's brands. Okay, so we're off to the races. So Divine Mango, I guess that's a brand. Or maybe, I don't know if that's a product or a brand. I think he says that's a brand. It sounds like a product, but he says it's a brand, okay? Ape Hanger is a brand. And Holy Honeydew. Like that? I don't know. Okay, add new brand. Nice. Okay, so we've got 3 brands in there. And these are taxonomies, remember. Effectively, they're categories that products can go in. And we're going to say, just to make this easy to understand, right? Hate this about WordPress. Absolutely hate this about WordPress. The only way, if you're wondering how to get the check boxes, the only way I've found to get the checkboxes is you go into your taxonomies, open brands, and make it hierarchical. Makes no sense, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so all products. Now we should have checkboxes. See? Stupid. Absolutely mind-boggling stupid. I should just have checkboxes at all times. That's the best UX for categories. Okay, so ape, hanger, product, right? We can say product number 1. Ape Hanger product number 1 goes in it's marked as the Ape Hanger brand, right? This is just, I'm just fleshing this out in real time. This is the approach that I would start with. Do I start with certain approaches and then realize a limitation and be like, no, we got to try to do it a different way? Yeah, that might happen. I'm not saying that this is the 100% solution. I'm saying this is the direction I would start in based on things I've done in the past. Okay, so now we're gonna go add new, and we're gonna say Divine Mango product number 1, okay? And we're gonna assign that to the Divine Mango brand. Then we're gonna go back and we're gonna go number 3, and we're gonna do Holy Honeydew product number 1, okay? Bang, publish, great. So now, in, a minute or two, we have, and let me just go back. I just had a PTSD flashback to not sharing my screen. Okay, we are sharing. That is good news. That's fantastic news. Is there a reason you are using ACF instead of Metabox? Yes, I have it's late. It's late. I get it. But I have a blog post explanation written. It just needs to be edited up and then published, and then it'll be live and everybody can read it. I want a timestamp to this minute in this live stream now to find this tutorial again. Okay, I will try to remember to do that. You can also drop a comment with the timestamp. So for those of you who love timestamps, it's so much extra work to like go find timestamps for things. If you just comment on the video with the timestamp to help everybody out, that would be absolutely fantastic. Are those vape brands sounds like drag queens? Hey, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just doing my job. I just work here, okay? I just work here. All right, so we've got Ape Hanger, Divine Mango, product number 1, Holy Honeydew, product number 1. Now, to manage the colors, I mean, he asked about using custom fields where you can assign colors. We could potentially do something like that. It adds a lot of extra complication. We can maybe take a look at doing that later. But what I always say is, can we get the easiest working version out, and then we can try to make it flashy. We can do other stuff with it. So what I would do is go into WP Codebox. Cloud snippets, global with ACSS. Let's import this one. Okay, no, I didn't click on that one. That is not the one I clicked on. Let's try that again. Global with ACSS, download. Okay, there we go. Let's import this. Now you could do this anywhere, but we're gonna try to do it in this SAS style sheet right here. And what I am going to do, we are going to be using data attributes, right? So like something like data brand and equals, and then what we're gonna, the only downside to this is that we're kind of managing this statically a little bit or manually, but it's a situation like where once a brand is in and programmed in, there shouldn't be any issues. It's not like you're adding, I wouldn't think you're adding and removing brands constantly, maybe every now and then, so it shouldn't be a huge problem. So I'm looking at Divine Mango, right? And the thing is that this needs to match whatever you're putting in the categories here, whatever you're calling the categories. So as long as this matches, you should be good to go. And then what I'm thinking about doing is just assigning the brand colors, right? So it's like brand color 1, and he gave me this one. Okay, perfect. And then we would have something like brand color 2. And let me go copy that. And because these are variables, right, I can now use these variables wherever I want these colors to show, hey, those are pretty good colors for a brand named Divine Mango. Seems like it fits. Okay, so we've got our first little brand thing going on here. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to add a page. And we could make a brands page where we query the categories or the taxonomy. We could create a products page. Probably what we're going to go with first is products. There's a lot we could do. The goal here is to not be really limited, that we can just make these brand colors show up anywhere in a template, in a card, and anywhere we want it to go. We could try to use frames here, but I'm just going to build this from scratch just because people like that. We will try a little auto BIM action here, maybe. I don't even know. We need to go back and see what we've got. I haven't even touched, I don't know what's going on with this blueprint. I haven't done anything here. So we got all this is on, all this is on. Oh, well, pro mode should be, let's just get that on real quick. Okay, plugin settings. All right, frames. What are we rocking with? We got everything on by default in this one. Okay. So this should have auto BIM available to us. All right, let's save, let's refresh. Okay, we're gonna make let's just make a product card. And I'm gonna I'm gonna make some changes. He didn't want me to show the actual design of this. So I'm just looking over here at kind of what he was I'm gonna do a very basic thing, all right? So we have product card right here. And then we are going to, it looks like, put in I always put in a couple blocks, right? This one probably only needs one. We'll do content wrapper, just like that. Okay, and yeah, looks like auto BIM will work. Let's make this a 3-column grid. All right, perfect. So there's our products card right there. We've got a content wrapper. Inside the content wrapper, we're gonna toss in a heading. It looks like we're gonna have a little bit of a blurb of text. And it looks like that's it. Like it's fairly basic. It doesn't really even have an image. Okay. So this is going to be let's BIM this up. So product card, content wrapper, heading, let's call this description. All right, and then let's auto BIM this. So we've got our product card, content wrapper, product card heading, product card description, apply classes. Hey, done, look at that. So easy, okay? All right, product card. Let's grab that class. Let's do a little bit of a minimum height right now, something like 10M, 20M, 15M. Let's start there. Okay. Let's figure out, we probably want the padding to be in the content wrapper, I would imagine. So let's do a little bit of like a space L maybe. Okay, there's our product card. Let's just throw a background on here real quick. It can be like literally anything, just so we can see what we're working with. Product card, I probably want to align this stuff to the bottom. That's kind of how he has it there. Inside the content wrapper, we're going to drop a little bit of a row gap in here. This is going to be our content gap divided by 2. And then we're going to loop this. We're also going to drop a little border radius on here. It looks like he has. Okay, so we'll go with a little radius M action. All right, let's save. Now the background is going to end up being a gradient, and it's going to end up having the brand colors of the brand that we're working with. Okay, so let's get the loop going. Let's go over here, products card. Actually, if we want to cross our T's and dot our I's, this container right here needs to be an unordered list. And then we need to come in here and drop our padding, or we can just actually go with, since we're using utility classes, let's just go with list none. Okay. And then this product card needs to be an LI, right? So HTML tag LI, so we have list items inside of our list. Okay, now we have better HTML5 accuracy. Okay, product card is going to get looped. So we're going to turn on the query loop. We're going to query. What are we going to query? We're going to query our products. Excellent. And then this is just going to be the name of the product. This is the post title right here. And then this is the description of the product, which we don't actually have yet. So we're going to jump back into our ACF magic area, and we're going to go with some field groups. And we're going to say, hey, these are assigned to products. Okay, we have text. The field label is going to be product description. There we go. And we are going to assign these to products. We're going to hit save. Then we're going to go back to our products, all products, grab this one. There's our product description. Arguably could be like maybe a text area or a WYSIWYG or something like that. This is just for demonstration purposes, okay? So this is the best honey-do product ever created, okay? It will get you high AF. That's a pretty good description, right? We're just writing the world's most terrible copy for placeholder purposes. Okay, let's refresh our builder. All right. Description, product description. See, there it is right there. Let's make that a P. Let's make sure that these are explicitly set to H3. All right, excellent, nice, save, refresh. Go to the front end, see what we got going on. Okay, product description, where? Oh, the other two don't have it, that's why. Okay, so Divine Mango, Ape Hanger, okay. Website, Ipsum, grab, paste, here, save, here as well, save, refresh, excellent, nice, I like it. Okay, our cards need to be a little bit taller to match what he was doing. So not with our content wrapper, just with our product card layout. We do need to go to 20. Okay, perfect. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. How we doing in chat? How we doing in chat? Any questions along the way? You can ask questions along the way. What is doorway.sas import used for? Really good question. So this is found here. So you used to have to have a bunch of import files to use to hook into automatic CSS to use functions and mix-ins and a bunch of other stuff, right? And in the last update, I actually had to change the path to some of those imports, which breaks all existing import. That's a bad thing. And I was like, you know what? I want to future-proof this for everybody. And so I created a separate import file that is specifically for users to hook into automatic CSS. And I called it doorway because it's a doorway into automatic CSS on the back end. It's a doorway, it's a secret doorway into the back end of automatic CSS that now you only need one import statement, and that one import statement path will never, should never change. Okay, so this makes hooking into automatic CSS way easier than it previously was. Please show how you would link each card to a separate info page. Oh, Ian, my friend. That's so easy. It's so easy. Okay, we will get there. Just if I forget, remind me again. All right, so what we need to do here is we need to output the brand name in a data attribute attached to each card. If we can do that, we are off to the races, right? So the way you do that is you have your product card, style, attributes, add attribute. We're gonna call this data brand, right? And then what are we gonna pull in? Well, where is the brand name stored? On any piece of content in this website, it is stored in the custom taxonomy that we created called brands, right? So we're gonna come down here and we are going to find, it would be, and this one is post terms category, post terms brands. Okay, I believe that's gonna output it. Okay, so let's just go see what destruction we have just created in our HTML. Oh, that's not it. Clearly that's not it. Okay, data brand, that's a link to the brand name. Wait, hold on, is that a link? That's a link to the brand, holy honey, yeah, brands. That's a link to the category. Okay, so post terms brands. Dude, I don't have all these fucking things memorized. Brand, post terms, brands. That's the only one. Post categories. What would output the categories? Site title. Term ID maybe, but it's not. Okay, what I'm gonna do right now, because we're gonna have to look at that a little bit further. We're gonna have to put in, I'm gonna just do this statically, right? So we're gonna do holy honeydew, okay? And is this, oh, we did divine mango as the first one down here, okay? If anybody in the chat knows off the top of your head how to use which dynamic data tag is gonna bring in that custom taxonomy name without the URL, let me know. Divine mango, save. And then let's get rid of this. Let's refresh, okay? Because what we're trying to do right now is just prove a concept. So we're gonna inspect. See how this says data brand divine mango. Now it says it on all of them, unfortunately, but if we can get this dynamic data going, it's gonna have the unique one on each one. Okay, but all we wanna do right now is test our theory and kind of get all of this working. So now I have data brand equals divine mango sitting on an HTML element. If I go back in here, I can see that what I've done is define two brand colors on this data attribute more or less, right? So what I need to do now is I need to create a gradient of sorts. And I think all we're gonna have to do, we can do this in the builder, we can do this in the SAS style sheet, wherever you wanna do it. But we're gonna go with backgrounds. We're gonna get rid of the background color. We're gonna go to, we'll try to do this in the builder first. We're gonna go to background, add color, okay. Color 1 is brand color 1. And I hope my brain is working well today. Okay, let's go in, raw. It takes so many clicks to get to the raw area. Brand color 2, save. Okay, products on the front end. So what we're afforded here, if you notice, is we don't have to define a gradient for every card. We define just a gradient. I mean, here's the gradient that's gonna be on all these cards. But you're gonna pull from these colors dynamically, and those colors are basically mapped to a single data attribute, which means that in this case, it's a gradient, but I can use these colors anywhere that this data attribute shows up for anything. It could be for button colors. I could use brand color 1, and now on that page that we're linking to for that brand, all the buttons are brand color 1, right? Because they're all gonna have this data attribute somewhere. It could be on the body tag, it could be on a card, it could be wherever I want it to live. But basically this data attribute is mapping brand colors, and then I can deploy those brand colors however I want to deploy them. And that's just up to me as the developer and the designer. Post terms category plain. Okay, so let's try that real quick. Yeah, I can never, the keywords that we add in, I'm not so sure plain was the best word to go with there. Okay, so let's go to data attributes. All right, so post, terms, brands, and then colon plain. Does that get us? That does look like it gets us what we want. So there's Divine Mango right here. So now what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna just take this, okay? And then data brand equals, and the next one is called ape hanger, okay? Ape hanger, all right? And let me grab the color for that. Double hash doesn't usually work very well. Brand color 2 for this. Paste. And now we're doing holy honeydew. And then what I would do here just for safety purposes is drop a little I at the end. And this is gonna make these case insensitive. So it's not gonna worry about the case. It's just gonna worry about the words, right? So if somebody accidentally, adds one where the case is wrong or whatever, because you might have some crazy brands doing stuff like this, I don't know. So we just want, for safety purposes, make this case insensitive. All right, so Holy Honeydew is gonna be this color for brand 1 and this color for brand 2. Okay, why does it feel like that was okay, no, those are different. They're just different shades of this green color. All right. What more do you want? What more do you want? Okay, so let's go fairly easy, right? Fairly straightforward. Let's save this, refresh. Bricks really struggles with data attribute styling in some aspects inside the canvas, which is why we're not seeing anything on the first one right here. Okay. One thing we're gonna run into with this strategy I'm seeing is color contrast, right? So you could also build this out. You could continue building this out, right? Where you could say something like brand text color. You could do this if you wanted. I'm not gonna do this, but you could start to do this more if you wanted to have more control and more customization options. You could do like brand BG color as well, right? You could kind of do whatever you need to do here. What's amazing about this kind of strategy is that you're literally just defining colors to go with these items here. And you can define as many as you want and then just deploy them however you want. You saw me deploy them in a gradient, but we can deploy them in any other instance as well. So let me go to, somebody asked, how do we link these to the product pages, right? How do you take somebody from this grid right here to the page for each thing? That's one of the most straightforward things about a query loop, by the way. So what you want to do is you want to link this, right? So link right here, and you want to do external URL, and then you get a lightning bolt, right? And you can just say post URL. And then we're gonna go ahead and save, and we're gonna refresh. And now this text right here links to the page. You can see the URL up here for products Holy Honeydew product 1. So now what we would be doing is we would say, now it's template time. Right? You ain't gonna build all these product pages manually, my friend. Don't no. Step away from the builder, all right? Let's go to the templates area, and you're gonna do something called product single. This means it's a single product template, a template for a single product. You're gonna choose single from up here, and you are going to publish. We're gonna open this with bricks, and then we're gonna go up here. We're gonna go immediately to template settings, conditions, and we're gonna add a condition, something like post type is product, right? And that's gonna assign this template to that post type right there. And then what we can do is we can say populate content, and you can search for like honeydew or whatever the heck that was called. You might have to refresh the builder for that to pull in. What was it called? Divine Mango? No, yeah, Divine Mango was one. Okay, so template settings, populate content. Basically, this just gives you a preview. Divine, where are you? Where are you? Oh, single post page, then you have to do it. It's single, no, it should be under single post page. Divine, it doesn't always, yeah, see, it doesn't show up. Look, this would make you think, Okay, there, it just populated. There's a little bit of a delay, apparently. Okay, apply preview. All right, so now you're tasked with building out the actual page. But here's the cool thing about this. Let's just throw a hero in here. What is templates, remote templates? Oh, this is a blueprint, so it's gonna fail until I put my license key back in. Okay, let's just build something real quick. Let's go heading and text. This is gonna be the description. P, this is gonna be your H1. All right, perfect. What is this? This is the post title right here. Divine Mango Product 1. What is this? This is the product description, right? Product description, bang, okay. Now, we've got something on the page. Let's grab I'm not gonna do all the classes and all that. I'm just proving a point here. We're gonna go background, just throw a color in, okay, save, so we can see something on the front end. Okay, so we also wanna see that happening here. There you go. So here's the real URL, products, Holy Honeydew Product 1. There it is, okay? Inspect this page, and you should see in the body class, usually, let's see, it puts in the category that this item is in, typically. Now we may have to output it manually if it doesn't. It doesn't look like it's doing it. Okay. So what we want to figure out, let me go up here. I know there's a page settings general body class. Check this out right here. CSS classes body. This is probably the best way to do this. Post, term, brand, plain. Save, refresh. And am I going to get it? Am I going to get it? Products, templates, default, single, post ID, logged in, bricks is front end. That should be putting a body class in. Break products, bricks. Oh, no, I'm stupid. I'm a moron. Hold on, I've got too many tabs open. Let's leave this page. Ideally, you would do this on the product template. Okay, so let's go into here. Was I looking at the wrong? No. Yeah, we're good there. Post ID 102, bricks is front end. Okay. We need to try that right here. So page settings, general, body class, brands, plain, save. Now refresh, and here it is. Okay, so the problem that we're running into now is that it's 2 words, Holy Honeydew. I don't think there's a way to add an attribute to the page. Okay, let me think about this. How do we want to do this? I don't think there's a way to remove the space. What we need is that class to be applied. If you're in chat, first of all, if you're in chat, talk me through why. I thought they always output categories in the body class. Am I wrong? What we need to do is problem solve right now on how to get this class output. We don't want to do the name. Okay, what would the slug work? Would the slug work? Let's go to products, brands. What's the slug? Ape hanger. I don't know if I can output just the slug without the URL. What other options do we have available to us? Let me pull up the chat. Let me see if anybody's a helper friend in the chat. Yeah, so Seth says, would a slug work? Yeah, I think so. Post terms, my taxonomy slug, replace the my taxonomy part with the slug of the actual taxonomy you want to use. Okay. Term slug. You've used category ID. I'm trying to figure out which, I know category ID will work, but the problem is, I checked my site, it didn't put the category on the template. Yeah, we may need a custom function. Seth, is that post terms my taxonomy slug something you know works, or are you just post terms brands slug? No, I don't think that works. Are we just making shit up? Are you just making shit up? Yeah, the post title is used as the slug, but it doesn't output as a slug. What we need is, like, think about a class. A class can't have spaces in it, right? And we need it to be linked with dashes. So it needs to be the name with dashes and preferably all lowercase. You looked it up on Brick's docs. But then you said no. I'm confused. Is it a real dynamic data or is it not? Or did you just make it up? Post terms, brands. Yeah, but what that output, that's exactly what I already did. So look, if you do this and we refresh, you're gonna get a URL in here, okay? You don't want a URL in there. That's gonna give you, then if you use plain, like we did before, that's what I initially did. Then you're gonna get 2 words, okay? So we inspect here, and you are going to get it to output. Single logged in admin bar. What am I, let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Let's get rid of all the tabs that we don't need. Okay, refresh. This is what you get right here. That's not a class. We can't use that. Seth says that if you, Lucas says no slug and Seth says slug. Let's try it with slug. Let's just see. Post terms, brands, slug. Save. I don't have a lot of faith. No, it's just putting, that's all, it's just putting that in there. It's not parsing it. Chump solution, just change the data attributes and get rid of spaces. Okay. We can't do that because the category, well, the categories would not look very good. I mean, yes, that would work. That would work, but it wouldn't look very good. Okay, let's try this with post terms, post tag. Post terms, brands. Yeah, I'd have to go. You can't even do category ID. Because term ID is there isn't one. It's not in a native category. Racking my brain right now on what else we can use. Yeah, see that term underscore slug? I think that's what he was getting at. But one for a custom taxonomy. And I think Bricks may be lacking some options here. That just adds a space. That doesn't actually add in. But that is the idea. That's what we want right there. Sanitized title will slugify a string. Okay. What I'm going to do for now is statically, so we can solve the problem of how to actually make this dynamic later, but you can basically demonstrate what we're trying to do. Let's say you could output divine mango like this, okay? So we save and then we refresh and we get divine mango as a class. All you do is you come in here for divine mango and you say divine mango, comma, and then the data brand. So now these brand colors are linked to a brand class and a brand data attribute. And so you can use these in different ways. Like for a whole template, we have a body class that is defining brand color 1 and brand color 2. And then on individual elements, we can have a data attribute that's effectively doing the same thing. And so now I hit save here and we refresh here and we refresh here. And let's see if we can just use this. I would just show you how it would be used, right? So once again, if we wanted to do just a background color, technically we should be able to come in here and we should be able to do raw and do brand color 1, right? And there is the brand color and we say, oh no, not that one. Let's do brand color 2, right? So you see this in a template. We can use it for background colors. We can still do the gradient thing here. That's no problem. If we were using buttons, let's just drop another section in here. So here's a button right here. Even if we wanted to make these button action, technically we should be able to do this, right? And so on this page in particular, I'm actually thinking if you wanted to do a couple different ways to tackle this, and I'm trying to just quickly weigh pros and cons in my head. The easiest way is probably in this template. Okay, let's go to template settings. No, not template settings. Let's go to, no, not theme styles, page settings, general, custom code, custom CSS. Okay, and we're gonna say that, I wonder, does this custom CSS only apply to this template? I think it does. I think it only applies to this particular template. So let me just try something real quick. Let's just say button action. Let me zoom in. And let's do button. I'm just off the top of my head seeing if I can guess. Okay. Automatic CSS, docs, buttons, links. Okay. It should be button background. Oh, it's button variables. Button variables. Button variables. These are brand new in 2.7. Button, it's just button background. Okay. So, and there's a button background hover. There you go. Okay. So now we can say brand color 1. See that? Then you could say, you know, button, you could just look at all these variables here. So there's button border color. Button border color is brand color 1 as well. There we go. And then all you want to do is define the hover. So button background hover. You could even make it change to that brand color on hover. Button border color hover should be an option as well. Button border color hover brand 2. Now the borders will match. Perfect. Okay. And so now what we're doing is we are coding. All right. Button action. This here. Honeydew product 1. What's your problem, dog? Okay. This is not picking up from that template. It's still using the defaults. The question is why? Where is it putting that CSS, first of all? Well, it's not here. Is it in a style sheet? See, these are the things you run into. It's like, what the fuck? Post 117? There it is right here. All right, now we go and we say, because it's working in the builder, but not on the front end, which is always the most fun thing, right? Working in the builder, but not the front end. It's a style sheet loading order issue, which we can solve without, should be able to solve without important, just by increasing specificity here. So we're gonna say divine mango, button action, field goal. I won't call touchdown on that. We'll call it field goal. But yeah, that works, okay? Yeah, that works, okay. So you can see how we can basically define all I'm doing, literally. So anytime you're like, oh, we're adding a brand, cool. Copy, paste. You could say, hey, new brand, what are the colors? What are the colors? Pop them in, and then all your templates, all your cards, all your buttons, all your everything, just start using that brand's colors across the entire website. I feel like it's a pretty solid solution. We got one hurdle that we have to figure out. It's basically just how do we take that category name and assign it as a working body class to templates? That's something we need to work on together probably. Let's see what Rob says. Add a custom field to taxonomy CSS class name. I did think about that too, Rob. The problem with doing that It was one of the things, I'm cycling through options, but then if I run into too many cons, I just discard the option. I'll show what he mentioned. So if we go to ACF and we go to add new field groups, right? And you go to brands like this, and you say, I'm gonna assign this to post taxonomy is equal to, what's the best way to do this? Post taxonomy, forms, no, user, page, post. Because I don't want to have to do, do I have to do them all fucking individually? No. Is equal to, or, this would be a pain. See, this would already be a pain in the ass. Now I just switched back to ACF, so I don't know if there's a better way to do this. Divine Mango. Can't you just be like, if it's categorized under brands? Or do you literally have to do or? Because this already shows you this would be somewhat of a nightmare. But now you have like brand name, like for classes, something like that. Okay, perfect. Save. Let's go see if that worked. So let's go to products, brands, ape hanger. See, this is what I want right here. I want the slug. I'm just thinking we have to create a custom function to pull that slug in. Okay, so I just assigned it. I just assigned a custom field to those and I'm not seeing it. Brand name for classes is assigned. Show this field group if, oh wait, hold on. I'm not, this would be like on a post. This would not be on the category itself. And I don't know, there, let's try this. I don't know why it's under form. Maybe that's an ACF thing. Is that an ACF thing? Where do I go? Products, brands, back here, ape hanger. There it is. So you do something like this, ape hanger, update. Now you can go in, let's just do the other two, Divine Mango, Holy Honeydew. Okay, so this would be Divine Mango, like that. And this one would be, but the reason I blocked this one out in my mind is because when you add a new category, okay, well, I'll show you why. I go to products and I go add new product, okay? And we'll do like fourth brand product, number 1. All right, and I add new brand here. I already saw this coming, right? Fourth brand, add. No indication, 0 indication that there's a custom field attached to these categories that I have to now go manually update. There's no, like anybody else comes along, shoot, hell, if I come along a month from now and try to add a new product and a new brand, I ain't gonna remember that there's a custom field for the class name attached to the taxonomy. Oh my gosh, that is like black hole city, right? You're gonna, so many balls are gonna get dropped having to try to do that. Which is why what we want is you create fourth brand, done. The name of the brand is then just automatically parsed down into a dashed version somehow, some way, some magic is gonna happen. And it's assigned to the body class and the template, and there's no other management. There's nothing else to worry about, right? This is a breakable situation. Our entire job in web design is to try to create unbreakable situations. And while this method would work, technically, it creates a breakable situation that's gonna cause nightmares later. And so we have to just exclude it and say, nope, we can't do that method. Yeah, I already said we could do a custom function. Today I learned about the forced colors browser setting and accessibility webinars. They're an automatic CSS solution to address this topic. I'll have to look into that more. Forced colors. Does that have to do with light and dark? What does that have to do with? What about post URL slug? Are you guessing? Is that a guess or is it something you looked up? Let me go see. general here, post URL. But you can't put the colon outside of this. That's not going to work. Normally that goes into here. But again, are we making stuff up? Yeah, that gives you the full URL. So that doesn't work. And I'll do this just for shits and giggles, as they say. But I'm pretty sure that's going to break too. Yeah, that doesn't produce anything. All right, so those don't work. Show field group if taxonomy equals brand. Okay, yeah, we already got that. Could this also be accomplished with a relationship to a brand CPT? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But the problem with the relationships method, yeah. I guess it could. There might end up being like one pro or one con that stands out for each method. And the biggest problem here is, the biggest challenge is it's Crockford's law, as Tony Crockford says. You get 90% of the way into implementing your solution before you realize what the con is, right? And then you're like, fuck. And then you're in refactoring mode. Yeah. But sometimes you get 90% and you're like, oh, good, there is no con. I was right at the beginning. That's fun. Was just thinking that would give me the ability to have a brand page too. You already have the ability to have a brand page, because now what I can do, I was thinking about limitations with templates, but I mean, you can go in now, and this is brand single, right? So let's go to saying this would probably, it would actually be brand archive would maybe be the best name for it. But you still have all the templating stuff available to you doing it with a taxonomy. This is an archive page, an archive of post type. Post type equals, wait, hold on. Let's think about this. Terms. Products, brands. I'm trying to think about the best way to do this. Individual just gives us products, entire website, post type, archive. I think it would be archive. Categories and tags. But I want, all terms, brands. There you go, right there. Save. So now you can create your brand page, right? So even though that we're using categories, right? Ape Mango or whatever the hell it was called can have its own page. It's just done with a template, right? So that all of those possibilities still exist. I don't see any limitations with regard to that. The correct DD tag is term slug. Yes, but it's not a term. It's a specific term, and you have to be able to get that. Post terms, my taxonomy slug. Replace the my taxonomy slug part within the slug of the actual taxonomy bricks docs. Okay, well, let's go see bricks, post terms, my taxonomy. Let's go look at these two. None of these are, which one are you looking at? Because none of these are helping us. Article / dynamic data. Okay, let's go back to our other template. This works, that would be nice. Templates. All right, I don't need the inspector. Thank you. Close, close, close. Move this over. Okay. Template settings. No. Page settings, general, body. Okay. My taxonomy. Brands. This is what we tried before. I swear I tried this before. And I need to probably not be on the template. Let's go to products, preview. Inspect. Killing my mouse. Wow, drinking from that fire hose today. We'll rewatch it half speed. All right, remove slug also. Why remove the slug? It says it right here that slug is there. Oh. Sorry. I was being the R word. Okay. I didn't read the whole thing. I just was like, oh, okay. I stopped reading right here at my taxonomy. Okay. Okay, post terms. No, that's what we already, hold on. The slug of the actual taxonomy. Okay. Is the slug not brands though? Because that's exactly what I had before. Brands, let's go here. Brand ape. Oh, hold on. So it actually needs to be the term. Hold on, I'm trying to wrap my dyslexic ass brain around this real quick. The slug of the taxonomy is, the slug of each one is the name of it, but the slug of the taxonomy itself is brands. And we already had post terms brands, I believe. Didn't we already have that in there? So what's missing? Because it ain't outputting shit right now. Blank. Justin says it does work. I don't know who you were talking to though, Justin. Were you talking to Dan or were you talking to me? I love this YouTube 15-second delay where we get to ask a question and then wait. Who were you? Were you talking to Dan or me, Justin? For it does work. The echo works. Okay, let's try that. All right. You sure about that? What a time for the chat to fail on me, he says. Oh, okay. Did you mistype something? Post terms brand. Oh, it's we did brand, it's brands. But I still don't see that working. It's not liking the echo sanitized title part. Was I doing brands earlier? Yeah, because I did it directly from here, right there. And as we already saw, that does not do anything. And the echo sanitize, try my echo. Okay. All right, I'll try yours. Echo, get term by slug. Nope. Doesn't like any of y'all's echoes. I have it in the page settings dynamic data. Page settings dynamic data. That's where I'm putting it. Page settings. Right here. That's where I'm putting it. That's where I'm putting it, Justin. Double dynamic, so not sure it will work. I thought y'all were giving me a solution, not like a theory. If I could pay my bills in theories, dog, I'd be way more efficient. Term meta, my term meta key. All right, well, we've taken some swings and some misses. What are we doing on time here? We're running out of time. Let me go back down. Just a couple more. Yeah. What I will do is we'll continue brainstorming this, and because I do want this solution, and then I may do this as a tutorial. If the thing is, if it was a normal category, this wouldn't be a problem. It's complicated by the fact that it's a custom taxonomy. And Bricks doesn't seem to have a preset for handling this. So it's gonna require a custom function. So I will get this solution worked up, and then it's gonna be a good case study for a video because, you know, I'm sure people are gonna be able, they're gonna want to create custom taxonomies. And then if they're doing something like we're doing here, be able to add that custom taxonomy to a body class or as a body class. So that'll be a good little technical video. That one might be for the inner circle because that's kind of stuff we put in the inner circle. Okay, let's move into the Q&A portion. But what we did is we proved the concept of assigning colors, and I hope that this helps out Steve. Steve was the guy who asked about doing this initially. So, you know, from a CSS standpoint, it's fairly simple, fairly efficient, and it's definitely scalable, maintainable across the entire website. You can use all these brand colors in whatever area you want. We saw it with buttons, we saw it with a gradient, we saw it with the section background colors. Really no limitation to that whatsoever. So this is the approach that I would take with that sort of thing. Okay, questions, and you can put question in all caps so that I can clearly see it. Neon Bongos has a question. In ACSS, the highlight selector uses the action color. I can't find where to change the font color when you select and highlight text. Okay, I was tracking the first half of that question, and then, you know, when you're talking about the highlight selector color, which is the focus color, I believe you're talking about. But then you asked a question about font color changing, and that's where you lost me. So try to re-ask your question. Replace the My Taxonomy slug part with the slug of the actual taxonomy. I did, Lucas. I did it like 5 times. If you set a custom field to sanitize the slug and use the field data value, it should work fine. Okay, we'll get the solution, and I'll do a video. Neon Bongos, re-ask your question regarding, I believe you're asking a question about focus color, but I don't know what the font color stuff means. And while he's asking, we'll take a look at some frames that came out recently. A fun one in particular that I'm going to do an entire dedicated video for. It is Hero Section Indigo with CTA Indigo. This was actually built based on a request from a user as well. Somebody in the inner circle was like, how do I build this? Because there are some unique little challenges. It looks simple, doesn't it? Doesn't it look fairly simple? It looks fairly simple, but there's actually some unique challenges here. Never mind, I'm a dum-dum. I found it's the selection tiling. Okay, good. Oh, when you select text like this. Yes, yeah. That is, yeah, there's a setting for that in the dashboard. Okay, why do you make ACF keys plural versus the default singular version of the post type name? Because in my mind, for example, it's mainly for query loops. When I'm query looping something, what am I asking for? Let's say I was query looping brands. So I want to show all brands. So in my mind, it's like, what are you query looping? I'm not query looping brand. Like there's many of them, right? So I'm query looping brands or I'm query looping products. I'm not query looping product. Like it's just in my mind, the plural version makes the most sense for the slug. And then in the URL, right? So let's go to this product. Where's this product? Here we go. Let's preview this product. Damn it, give me the actual URL, please. Here we go. Go to here. Look at, okay. Let's just look at it right here. Vape shop, blah, 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 products, fourth brand, product one. See how product one is under products? This irks me when you've got all these products listed under product. Like, I get it, you're looking at a singular product, but it's part of your products catalog. It's just a semantic thing. It's like, to my brain, I'll be honest with you, it's an OCD thing. It's an OCD thing, right? Might not be your personal preference, but that's my personal preference. I like it when it's like, pretends that there's more of the items, rather than pretending it's a singular thing. Okay, hopefully that satisfies you as an answer. Anthony says, is there a way to display the numerical value in a button upper right corner on how many items are in a given taxonomy? I mean, yes. How would you do it? That's the hard part. You could have something that counts the number of items in a category and returns that value, probably in a data attribute, and then show it just like you would on a email, how many emails are in the inbox kind of badge, or like any type of notification bubble that does that. But the hard part is, creating a script that counts the number of things in a category, or there may already be a PHP function for doing that, and then outputting it. Okay, let's go to, I think I answered both of those questions. Let's go get rid of this. How do we want to do this? We want to import this on a real site. What's a good real site to do this on? How about Bricks October? Good a site as any, right? I'm just thinking of one that has an actual license key in it. Okay, hero, edit. Let's see what happens here. So let's import this, remote templates, refresh. We're looking at hero section indigo. And you already see it's gonna pull in brand colors. Okay, let's add a image here, little Porsche action. Oh, I think I already did that on this site. Hopefully I didn't break anything when I did it on this site earlier. Okay, let's look at this on the front end. Pretty dope little hero section. But what we want to look at is we want to look at the magic under the hood of what's going on here, because things are not as they seem, my friends. Here's a minimum height. I'm going to change that to 40 rem. Get that to be a little bit narrower. Okay, let's get the chat back up here. Has anybody used this frame yet? It's kind of brand new, but let's check this out. First thing I want to show you, let's dive into the locally scoped variables over here. So I'm going to go to custom CSS. We'll zoom in a little bit. So you've got your min height, which you saw I already adjusted to make that not quite as high. We've got our gradient start color, our gradient stripe color. I want to show you what these change in just a second. The angle of the gradient. We have something called a safe area. We have padding within our safe area. We have our image width. That's going to come in very handy in just a second. Then we have our accent offset and our accent opacity. Let's take a look at what all these levers do. Again, I'm going to do a dedicated video on this, but this is a really good use case to look at, because here were the challenges. You have to have a section. Now, in the example I was given, this was full width. It went all the way to the edge. But when I was developing it, I was like, ooh, this actually can go either or. It can go to content width, or it can go to the full. It's just a little toggle switch. That's all we need. So I actually made it like a dual purpose. You can do it either one, whatever one you prefer. I actually think it looks better like this, because it kind of breaks up the boxiness of a typical website, right? Where almost always you would see these things going to the edge, and then it's just a normal section, right? But this kind of gives it more dimension. But again, it's up to you. It's personal preference. I'll show you how to change it in just a second. We need this cool overlay effect here. This little gradient overlay has to happen. But here's the hard part, two hard parts. One, look at the image. If this image goes full width over to this edge, you're not gonna see most of the image. Most of the image is gonna be behind this section right here, and you're just gonna lose it, right? So the image has to somehow stay over here while this all happens over here. Secondly, this content with alignment has to be perfect. So this text has to start where all of your other text starts. But it also can never be allowed to collide with the gradient, right? As we know, when we do some mobile changes or different device sizes for this. So check out how this gradient would normally, because these are normally based on percentages of the width of the container, that gradient would try to come over here and collide with our text. We cannot allow that to happen because that's gonna create a readability issue with our text. So as this adjusts, the text has to be protected from ever colliding with the gradient, which means we have to know, let me go turn my pro mouse on here. Let me be able to draw. We have to know the distance between where this gradient solid fill starts and something else. Well, we can't know this distance right here. This distance is not knowable. Why is this distance not knowable? Because that distance changes based on the device width. The only distance that's knowable is the distance between the edge of our content width and the edge of the gradient. And that is going to be called our safe area, which means the gradient, ladies and gentlemen, needs to start right here. The gradient is only from there forwards. This that you're looking at over here is fake. It just looks like it's part of the gradient. It's just giving that effect, okay? So let me show you how we visualize this, right? Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. We don't need that. We don't need this. We don't need this anymore, okay? So we're coming in and we're gonna come down to our before. I believe it's our before. Angled accent. No, is it our after? It's our after. I'm gonna remove this. I just want you to visualize. Aha, look at this. This is actually what's going on here, okay? We have a gradient that starts right here and does its thing over here. Now, if we look, what we're doing is taking a pseudo element, right? And we're saying, hey, be 100% wide as this little container is, be as tall as this container is, have a background that's the same color as the gradient. That is why we have a gradient start color variable, because that variable, gradient start color, when I change this to like secondary, changes the gradient start color and the color of the pseudo element, because those things always have to match, right? So a locally scoped variable is imperative here. So we have that is easy to change. I'll put that back as action. And so what it's doing is it's positioned absolute, starts at the top of the container, but it goes to the left minus 100%, which is just off the screen. It's like start at the left and go all the way off the screen. I don't really care. And as you guys should probably know, you can't create overflow on the left-hand side. So things can extend off the left edge without causing horizontal scrolling, because overflow doesn't go to the left. Overflow can only go to the right. So you're always protected sending things off the screen to the left-hand side. All right, so this needs to be saved and refreshed, and that's what happens when that piece is in place, okay? So now it looks like the gradient starts over here and goes to here, but really the gradient starts right here. Now, what is the width of this first band of the gradient? So now we're gonna go in and inspect our gradient. So, and our gradient is right here, all right? So we have the gradient angle to start our gradient, which is just, you know, if you have this little locally scoped variable, you're like, oh, I wanna try 55. Oh, look at that, 65, 75, 85, 95. You can do whatever you want. This little variable right here. Look at how it's not, seems to not be colliding with the text. It's like always protected against colliding with the text. How is that happening? So we have, see safe area? Okay, so notice that our safe area is being used in the dimension calculation of the bands of the gradient, right? So this is always ensuring that we have enough safe area in our gradient band to account for our text, which is also in a container, right, that has a width of safe area, right? But it also has, because we don't want it to touch the edge of the gradient, there has to be some padding, right? There's actually no padding. The padding is fake. The padding is safe area minus the safe area padding times 2, which accounts for both sides. So what that allows you to do, and you don't have to know like how all this works. All you have to do as a user is come in and adjust the variables, right? So here's your safe area padding. So I can say M, and look, it's gonna get closer to the band, but I can do L, I can do XL, and it'll get further away from the band, right? So the amount of white space that you want between your content and the bands of the gradient is definable right here. You can even make your safe area wider, which, what's that gonna do? It's gonna make the band bigger because the band has to get bigger to account for more of a safe area, right? So this allows you to control that. Consequently, by the way, you can create a completely different look. I'm gonna show you something in just a second, okay? Let me first show you the 100% width thing. By changing this image width from 100% width to 100 VW, you instantly achieve your full width layout, right? So you can say, hey, we're going full width. Also note though, where does the image start, guys? The image starts here too. The image is not touching over here. The image starts here, which allows us to protect more of the image. We also use an object fit of protecting the left side. So object position is set to 0%, which is protecting the left side data of the image so that this car will never go behind the gradient, right? It just always stays in view, which is fantastic. And of course you can tweak all of those things if you want to. I'm gonna set this back to 100%. And it's gonna go back to looking like this. Now, there's another pseudo element back here. I don't know if you guys can see it because it's super light. I'll make it obvious, okay? It's called the accent offset, which is right here, okay? And it's background image. Okay, it's using a gradient as well. Let's make its opacity 1. Maybe that'll make it more obvious, okay? It's that blue stripe, which also uses the same angle of your gradient bands, okay, which is nice. I like to have it very light opacity. That's why I put this little opacity thing in here, so you can go 0.25 on that. If you wanted to get rid of it and you don't know how to remove it, you could just set the opacity to 0 and it'll go away. That's another benefit of having the opacity selector right there. But that's just another pseudo element that sits back there. Now let's check this out. Let me put it back at 100 VW. And then what happens if we change this to white over here? And then we set that one to 0. You could actually achieve like an inverted effect, right? Where you have your content, we would have to make our content dark now, but you would achieve this effect and you would have dark content just floating next to this like visual presentation kind of thing. It's just another little wrinkle in, when I was testing different aspects of how this frame behaves, because now you could come in here and you could say that this is gonna be like my base color or whatever, or you could do even action, like action ultra dark. And then you can obviously change this from button white to button action. And look, in just a few seconds, we've got like a completely different look going on. Of course, you could also just do a very light color over there as well. We could try something like that. Like it's now to the point where you just sit here and play and you achieve like whatever effect you want to achieve. So I can go like action ultra light, something like that. And then I refresh and look at what we've got there. Like a whole completely different look kind of thing going on. Definitely a fun frame, nice addition. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look how versatile it is, right? Like you look at the kind of black and white version and you're like, okay, yeah, it's a nice little, cool little hero. But like the amount of stuff that you can do with it, I thought is pretty cool. Very, very versatile, very easy to customize. Okay, question. Is there a way to display, oh, we already answered that one. Insight on the blog post as to why you moved to ACF, we need to know. All right, well, you just gotta wait a little bit. It'll be like a day, like one more day. I just gotta edit it up. What are your thoughts on media upload plugins that auto assign a data dominant color as image placeholder background color. Oh, you breaking my brain, Carl. What's your thoughts on media upload plugins that auto assign a data dominant color as image? Oh, dude, hit me with the fifth grader version of that. That's breaking my brain. I don't know what that means. Question, how do you bring up the suggested grid classes when building? You mean these? Like that? So that's just right click, type grid, and then it's gonna sort to all of the grids. Which I think the next update has all 12 columns, I think. I need to ask Christoph. But is that what you were talking about, Amanda? Yeah, that was it. I actually never use this, by the way. Especially with frames, you almost are in a situation where you shouldn't ever really need utility classes. It's just my whole workflow. If you watch, this is why like pro mode exists, which turns off almost all utility classes. But watch my general workflow for building a website. It's all variables. It's like 99.9% variables and custom classes. Now, there are certain things like FlexGrid, for example, that can't be variabilized and it's a pain in the ass to do manually. So in that situation, I would still use utility classes, like for FlexGrids. There they are down here, FlexGrid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a situation where I would still use utility classes. Background colors. Background colors, I still use utility classes because it's much faster and they change on the fly. But it's very limited. It's very limited. What are your thoughts on CrocoBlock, Jet Engine? I've never used either of them, so I just cannot comment. I've never seen a need for them. They have less integrations, in my opinion, than ACF has, and I just don't want to be limited in my integrations. Would you ever consider using Amelia plus WS Form to create a booking platform where 30 people are managing their own schedules, or would you just use a third-party platform for that? It depends. It depends. We've used WP Amelia for a client in the past. I just need more details. I would have a laundry list of questions that I would ask, and based on the answers to those questions, we would determine whether, we go this route or that route. Question, what's the quickest way to add alternating section BG colors on a query? Alternating BG sections on a query. Okay. We don't want to be in Vape Shop. Let's go. This will be like maybe the last question, or maybe if there's one more easy one. This will be the last demo. Okay, so we're on a page, alternating BG. What do you, I'll just ask this while we're here. Is it two different colors alternating? Is it white and a color? Is it three different colors? Is there a pattern? Is there any other need here? Like, does this go beyond just like, hey, just show me how to automatically set some background colors? Two colors, okay. And they just alternate, like that's it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 sections, okay? So what I would do, I would go up to, if I was gonna do this on an individual page, I'll give you two scenarios. If you're gonna do the sections on a page, okay? That's probably how I do it either way. Probably use a body class. See, alternating BG. The next question would be like, on some pages you might have different, you want to set the color that alternates. That's a whole nother scope of like what we get into. I'll just assume that you mean like the simplest possible, most basic ass solution possible. So we just put a body class. If we go up here to body, right? And a lot of people ask like, what is a body class for? See how alternating BG is now in the body of this document, which means I can go target it. Now I can do that here. I can do that in, WP code box, whatever. So alternating BG, and we just basically do walk your way to the solution, right? Can you select every section element and change its background color? And can you change it to something ugly and obvious like red? So background color, alternating BG. Let's refresh here. Is this not? There we go. Okay, it needed a little bit of a bricks refresh. So let's go to custom code. Okay. All right. So what we've achieved is we can target every section when this body class is present, and we can change the background color to red. Now what we want to do is ask yourself, do we want to select all of the sections, or do we want to select every other section? And if we want to select every other section, we need to probably just use even and odd, right? So nth child even gives me red even sections. And now I can do something like base ultra light. Okay, so now those are base ultra light. And then if I just steal that instruction and I say odd, we can just say base light and done. All right, alternating background sections. Now you could also you could do stuff with locally scoped variables. You could do stuff with modifier classes. Like you could always have like alternating BG base, alternating BG action, secondary, whatever you want to do. You could. How else could you approach this? You could say background color. Yeah, that probably wouldn't add any value. I think this is the easiest way to do it. I was going through more pros and cons in my head. And I don't think the other method would add any additional value. So I think this is the easiest approach for you right here. So now when you open up a new page, now you're going to a new page, you would want to put this in code box so that it is available globally to the entire site. And then anytime you go to a new page, you just come up here and add this class to the body class, and all your sections are going to alternate their colors automatically. And you have global control over it. Probably the easiest way to go about it. Can you show a technique where there is a 2-column grid where the second column span any number of rows that could be, the grid is dynamic and there can be 3, 4, or more divs? I think you're asking about, if there's an uneven number of last items, last children, they stretch to fill the grid. Regardless of how many rows. Wait, you're talking about rows. Hold on. A 2-column grid where second columns span any number of rows. Gregor, can you clarify? This will be the last one. I said the last one will be the last one. This one will be the last one. I can't sign off. Gregor, do you have an example of what you're trying to achieve? Let's get a grid going so that when he answers, we're ready to rock and roll. We're ready for him. All right, let's do a block here. Actually, I'll just use let's do a block. Okay. Let's do block like this, style, background. I just want to be able to see it. Let's go with action medium. That sounds good. All right. Ruben says 1 more hour. Look at Ruben. I bet Ruben's been working over here on the side, just listening, and I'm doing all the work, right? And Ruben's like, 1 more hour, right? And he's just doing his own thing over here, and he's like, basically putting me into the slave trade here. Okay, let's go with layout, min height, 10. Yeah, he said 100%. 100%. I know you. I know you, Ruben. Okay. Gregor says, second column always spans all rows. Second column always spans all rows. So would this be a 3-column grid and you want the second one to span all rows? The challenge is, usually the rows like define themselves by how many elements there are. So there's no second column in a grid. There's just grid items, right? Your grid items, yes, there's a second column, right? But columns in grid are not selectable. You can't target a column. You can only target items that are in the grid. Pedro says, just came here to remind all of you to hit the like button. Absolutely, absolutely. You got to pay with a like, right? It's free, you got to pay with a like. What you can do is make the second child always span multiple rows. Okay, second item always span. But where are the rows if there's no other children? Like this can't span all the, because there's an item below it. You see what I'm saying? Like I need a visual of what you're trying to achieve. Is there a link to where I can see what you're trying to achieve? Because yes, you can come in here and you can say root, select the direct child, nth child 2. That's the second item. And, grid row span 2, right? And I probably have to do like some sort of flex grow nonsense in here. Actually, I think you can just make, yeah, it's only going to create implicit rows that you're not going to be able to see. You just got to put a stretch class on here. But if there's other elements, now, it depends on the number of elements you have. I mean, you could create a situation like this. But this is always going to depend on as soon as there's another element, it doesn't look the way that it previously looked. See, this is what's going to happen if you keep filling the grid out. So you can get the second item to always span. Are you saying span every row possible? Like never? I think that's doable, if that's what you're asking. So you would just say grid row 1 end. I think all is a keyword. No? In theory, that should work, but it's clearly not working. Yeah, that's why, yeah, I've tried all of all -1, end. Yeah, I've tried them all. I've tried all the fancy keywords, and it doesn't appear to like it. Yeah, I tried that. Well, we don't want to calc, but 1 minus. Now we got to fix that auto expansion. 1 minus 1. No, 100% is not a thing. That's not a thing. This should work in theory right here. It's just not. How about grid area? So, okay, there's our 4 numbers. Dude. Okay, so start on row 1, start on column 2, end on end. And 3. Doesn't even like that in grid area. Always make sure we're actually selecting the item we want to see move. Trying to rack my brain on why it'll let us do it statically. It'll let us do it manually. I think I know why. I think I know why. It needs to know how many rows. I think it needs to know explicitly how many rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just try this. That's fun. Can you span using a variable? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Right now I'm trying to... Right now I'm trying to figure out why it's putting that item in column 1. You see that? We really got to fix this auto expansion, because in grid columns, it causes a huge problem. I'm going to play with this more. Use grid template, not grid row. Yeah, no, I did use grid area. You must not have been watching. I was using grid area. Oh, well, M would work. Okay. Got to spell the word right. It should not be putting that item in the first column. In my brain, it should not be putting that item in the first column because I'm not instructing it to. But we could do grid column 2. Like, I don't know why it was already in column 2. Why do we have to force it back to column 2? But here you're getting the automatic, now the -1 is working. And it's because we brought in that grid template rows. So we told it explicitly how many rows there are. But again, that's still kind of manual, because if you don't tell it the right number of rows, it's not gonna actually go all the way to the end. Like if this was in a query loop and this continued to be built out, this still would not really work all that well. Couldn't you just nest blocks inside the second column block? No, because then they won't stack in the right order, and then it won't be query loop compatible. And then no, that would create a bunch of limitations. Grid starts at 1. Here's 2, right? 1's gonna put it there, 2, 3. So that's not the problem. I just didn't know why grid row was putting it in column 1. That didn't make any sense to my brain. But if you force it back here, it goes back in its right column. This kind of gives you the answer, but it still has this static row count problem. You could probably do some sort of autofill, auto fit type situation. I'd have to play around with that. I'm trying to create a grid with WS form sections. I have a section with a map, which I always want to span to the end. I also have repeatable section, which I don't know how many rows will be repeated. Yes, yeah. That's a good question. If you're in the inner circle, Gregor, these are the kind of things like that would intrigue me for like the pop quiz, right? And we'll have like lots of people working on it and seeing if we can come to not just a solution, but the best possible solution. So if you're in the inner circle, ping me, and we might do this as maybe the next pop quiz and see how we can solve for a solution like this. This is the whole point of the pop quiz, is like get everybody's minds working, get us playing with things, stretching our skills and abilities, and having fun at the exact same time. As Ruben says, join the inner circle and we can figure it out together. All right, guys, I gotta go. I have actual work to do today. So thank you guys for being here on the stream. Throw up the likes, the comments. I'll be back next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern. In the meantime, peace.